Hello, everybody. We're the last, and we'll try not to keep you too long. And it's been a wonderful day for us to see what the Mies Foundation have put together in terms of describing the story of architecture and what it is that makes architecture. And we've heard so many inspiring stories today. And the way it's been organized with the jury interacting with the architects is so fascinating. So I think what we're convinced about is that we want the Mies van der Rohe Foundation to come to Dublin and to speak to our people, let's say, in the same way about architecture, because it's been a really important day. I'm not going to go on and on about our project because it has been spoken about, and it's not that it's not important to us, but we have 30 slides and we've been told we have 10 minutes. And what I was thinking, and there's two of us, and Yvonne doesn't talk much, and I have to cover for her. But what I was just thinking was we were asked to take some photographs, and walking around this pavilion in the quiet at the back, it's not the back, but where you all are not, it's just so wonderful to get a moment to experience a building that holds time. And that's one of the things that we talk about in our office. How do you make something that holds culture and holds time? And this building is very much about holding an idea and translating an idea and making a building which reflected the dream and the vision of the university. We love this plan of St. Gallen because it describes a non-compartmentalized society. There's animals, there's monks, there's priests, there's farmers, and of course the monastery isn't just a custodian of religion, it's a custodian of culture and a custodian of education. And this sketch was a very early sketch to do with how we could think in section about this wonderful program of bringing dance and contemplation together. So we were thinking in plan, but also thinking in section. And the fact that we might make a landscape which climbed up over the performance spaces and the rehearsal studios, which were the only rooms in the building, because the building otherwise is open plan. It's completely open to everybody. And then, of course, the university has to have a civic presence. And we had this friend across the road, which we call it, which is the Surrey Town Hall, a beautiful Portland stone building. And in quite a hostile, not very beautiful environment, we found this friend was very important because it helped us to choose materials, and it helped us to choose a civic kind of scale and height and to have a conversation with this building. And we made this stepped colonnade, which brings with it the landscape of the new public space made by the university, replacing car parking. And we love this building, and we felt that somehow this resonated with the vision of our client. It's a furniture showroom by Jorn Utzon in Copenhagen. And this started us to think about the building being a warehouse of ideas. But also we love these sketches because it brings landscape right into the body of thinking, which was also our thinking. And this is the nuts and bolts of how we try to make buildings, to make something very rudimentary, which is precast concrete frame building, into something which might have some character and some tectonic. So even though the means are quite standardized and prefabricated, the way that we were bringing things together was very important to us, that would give a building a certain quality. And everything in this building does a job. There's nothing redundant. The colonnade on the edge is the fire escape, as well as being the terrace, as well as being the civic device. The bottom left-hand sketch we love, Fermini by Le Corbusier, because the floor folds and the section disappears. And that was something that really influenced us in thinking about how we could make a central lecture space. And of course, reading Auguste Perret, who did the most beautiful Salle Courtauld in France, in Paris, and he speaks about the Greek bouleuterion. He speaks about it from the point of view of intimacy, but also that it's a place which gives sound its freedom. And we loved that phrase of giving sound its freedom. And somehow the quality of the sound, Rasmussen writes about on hearing architecture. And we found making this project that the acoustics and the sound was as important as the light and the organization. And so we turned what could be a black box into a central courtyard, which is the event space. And that's the heart of the project. And you can access this building from all sides, and you can walk from the ground to the top floor without being stopped or asked what you're doing here. And the bouleuterion is there for scale comparison on the left-hand side. And we were thinking about this three-dimensional web of space. It's 55 meters square, so it's too deep to get light from the edge. So we were manipulating the volumes. So it's a concrete structure, precast concrete structure, and the spatial richness, let's say, comes from the manipulating of the volumes, the manipulating of the light, the control of the sound, and the telescopic connection that happens through the plan. We also love this project by Florian Bagel and Philip Christou. The Half Moon Theatre no longer exists, unfortunately, in London. But what we loved about this was that the theatre is thought about as a piece of city. And we wanted the central space in Kingston to feel like a piece of the street. And here you see the dance on the ground and first floor and the library wrapped around it. And the stretching corridor on the right-hand side is wonderful, where the intellectual in the library can see a beautiful dancer stretching their muscles. And it was wonderful today to see the dancers that you organized. We really enjoyed that. It was so beautiful. I wish I had muscles like that, even if they're architectural muscles. To see this leg appearing above the parapet was just amazing. And this costume's so beautiful. So again, thank you to the foundation for organizing this. But anyway, this is our central space, the heart, the folding floor, the space that connects the library and the dance. And then trying to make seating which would be comfortable but would also be robust and as a place for students to sleep or to study or to be entertained. And here they are. And what we love is that the life of the interior of the building filters to the outside, so that the exterior colonnade becomes not just a civic device, but a place of play, a kind of platform for dance and for human use. Yvonne.
Thanks, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. This image is one of the staircase, and I'd just like to maybe describe the staircase as a form of dance, following on what Shell has said about the dancers here on this beautiful building today and the beautiful dance, that the staircase itself is a piece of choreography, that it stands linking the many stories, and it's about movement. So this image is, as you enter the building, that to the right and hidden are the elevators or the lift. So the language of the circulation is about greeting you as you enter. So it's about movement. It's about the stairs itself as a dancer. It's about active and passive. And it's about celebrating the section. So if you're moving on the stairs, you become a dancer. You are a student who is, if you like, part of the action of the university. And what we find about it, and it's an experience that we've had ourselves because of the plan, the deep plan, and as Shell has described, the deep studies, working with the clients and working with the specialist of building in acoustic variety within this building. As you go deeper in the plan and further away, that this staircase with conversations happened become a type of babbling brook. It's like as if you are in a forest and you know by the sound of a small river that if you approach it, it's going to be different. So this is like a river of people. And we're very happy with the sense of movement and the fact that the 6 stories of the building brings you from cafe and streetscape right up through the building, past the layers of dance and past the layers of library, up to another common space and cafe on the top floor. Here's another view from the staircase. When we talk about the staircase as being a dancing staircase, it really changes its character as well. So it's straight in one point, then you step off and you go on another journey, all, if you like, refining the movement and all relating you back to the section of the building. What's extraordinary about any building in context is that Shelley described the town hall across the way, giving it a scale. The drawing, the black and white drawing here, describes the section of that staircase as it dances its way up through the building, but also how landscape has informed us in terms of what is retained. On the right-hand side of this image, you have the existing trees that were, if you like, surviving on the very busy road alone with the 150 car parking spaces that had been out the front, and now has become a 200-meter long piece of landscape that's both a gift to the university itself, but also a gift to Kingston for the general public. So this section is describing the staircase as it winds its way up through the building, and also you see the landscape cut into the building, which is modified by virtue, not in this section, but it steps down because of its relationship to residential buildings, which are to the east. Here we have some of the spaces that are in the building itself, in use, people sitting, studying, people relating to one another. And one of the things that's really important for us as architects is that the drawings themselves, the plans, the sections, the elevations, do not actually describe the feeling of any building, but for us particularly, it does not describe the interlocking volumes, the quality of light, the depth of sun penetration, the relationships that people can observe one another. And one of the amazing things about this piece of university architecture for us is that the overlap of library and dance and people themselves, that people inspire each other, that this building allows people to observe and be part of their own community. Shell described the amazing, if you like, possible relationship that this building has with Kingston. Here on the right-hand side, you have the busy, normally much more traffic than this photograph describes, but the trees, the existing trees, are given a new status because they're part now of a new linear landscape. And as Shelley described, the fire escapes, the portico is both a celebration of this as an institution. It allows the fire escapes to be civilized and become balconies. It allows this threshold between inside and outside to relate to the space of Kingston. So if you're standing at a bus stop, you can actually enter the building, have a cup of coffee, either on the ground floor or move your way right up through the building. And that's something which we'd like to reiterate again in terms of these clients, that they have said that there's no control, that everyone is welcome, students, university, and the members of the public. On the left-hand side is an image looking from the central space out through the foyer, out to the city. So your awareness of where you are in this piece of England is heightened by the building. Here you have the new relationship, if you like, the status giving to the trees again. So the trees become part of this layering. Off the picture on the right-hand side is heavy traffic. You have the trees given a new lease of life. You have the civilized path for the general public. And what's really an incredible act of generosity by the university, the furniture, the picnic tables that are there for both students and the general public This is it's facing due west, but it obviously then gets southern sun. And you get these dancing, not only the staircase inside, but the balconies themselves at various heights, giving different levels of intimacy on the facade. And here the trees in their full glory, and the building rises up above the trees. And when you're at the highest point, you can see over to Hampton Court, one of the beautiful palaces of England, with brick that's absolutely edible, with a landscape that's wonderful. I remember being in Hampton Court, and it has a maze. And as we were in the middle of the maze, I said to Joe, "What time is our flight?" And we had to find our way out of the maze. So don't go into a maze if you're waiting for a Ryanair flight. It's not a good... In terms of then this space, here we have students using the space between the interior and the exterior. And on the left-hand side, you've got either a student or a member of the public using the colonnade as this interstitial space between the general public and the university. When we were there, it was very interesting. We asked some students who were sitting on the terrace, and we asked them, how did they enjoy the building, and they were enjoying themselves. And it turned out that they were students from another university who found this place very attractive. So they'd actually come from another university so I don't know whether clients want to object to people. Yeah, you should charge other universities for places for your students to move out. This piece here is really lovely with the bunting, the people sitting outside, that threshold. And we were really struck today that the component of many of the projects which are lauded by the jury under the Mies banner are really ones that are about making architecture accessible to the general public. And it's in all credit to Kingston University that was embedded deep into the philosophy of the buildings, this building, when working with them, that they didn't want to have a divide between the university and the people of Kingston. Also in terms of landscape, that here growing on the facade is a beautiful series that over time, maybe the wine industry is probably, if you grow vines on these, that maybe there's a wine from Kingston. Just at the moment with global warming, maybe there's a chance that you have this your own wine. But for the moment, it's honeysuckle. It's this layer of landscape which is ribbed up through these fine metal wires, but it means that students have this chance to be both inside and outside, and the general public can enjoy landscape integrated. And one of the most beautiful spaces, we think, in terms of the building, is high up contained by the building, an outside space which faces south and looks over the flat countryside to the south and over the roofscapes of Kingston. It's important for students in this time, hopefully of post-COVID, that they have a choice of having these kind of seminar areas and group. We've often seen students use this space as a gathering space for themselves. And on the left-hand side are the integration of the landscape pieces to the 200-meter-long linear space, seeing the trees here on the right-hand side. And we'd just like to finish with an image of our Grafton architect team. This is obviously pre-COVID, when everybody could be standing very close to one another. We were in our office, but this is a happy faces of a team of expert people with whom we work daily, of whom we have the utmost respect, that architecture is never done by a few people. It's a huge collective, not only the clients who are sitting here, but also the engineers, the M&E people. But embedded in Grafton Architects is an ethos of respect and value for one another. And this image really captures a moment a while ago when James Ross has obviously told some incredible joke, but I can't remember what it is.
It's when we got the Mace Prize.
Is it?
No.
All right. But we just like to say how honoured we are and to thank everyone. And you've endured the wonderful sun of Barcelona. And thank you to me, thank you to our judges. It's just such a pleasure, and thank you.